Happy Pesach.
Happy Pesach.
Yeah, I guess,
Happy Pesach.
sorry,
Happy Pesach.
Happy Pesach. And I just want us to focus, I suppose, on just for a moment on the idea of liberation. What I'd like us to do for the next 7 weeks, I'm going to invite us to count the Omer together. So the Omer is the period of time that links Passover to Shavuot. So the holiday celebrating freedom, to Shavuot, which is that holiday when we celebrate um, binding ourselves to something that leads to fulfillment and good. So we give up one form of direction in some ways. We free ourselves from bondage, but we attach ourselves with choice to the Torah. And we can talk more about that. I don't want to do too much learning in these sessions. I'd rather they're more about kind of a more reflective nature. But when we do this, we call it counting the Omer. And you can count every single day. We will count every day that we are together. And I'm going to begin with a niggun that is written for this very purpose. And I'm just going to kind of chant it a few times as a niggun. And then later at the end, I'll sing it with the lyrics. And if you don't get it this week, that's okay. You'll get it next time. So just get yourself settled. Now, particularly today, just take in some deep breaths. And every time you exhale, just feel liberated. Ya da 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 ya da da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da da ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da 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 ya da da ya da da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da da ya da 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 This first day of the Omer, I want to offer an intention and a teaching that supports that intention that will carry us into our breathing. We follow the calendar of the Omer. It arranges itself according to the Sfirot, which is a Jewish mystical notion of how God reaches us. And this first day, the Sphira is Chesed, which is loving kindness. And so our intention this day is loving kindness within loving kindness, the deepest kind of generosity of spirit, and open-heartedness that we can create for ourselves and share with others. And as a teaching to help us kind of dive into that kind of very enormous well of possibility, I'm going to offer this teaching in Pirkei Avot, which is another tradition of the Omer that we study this portion of text every Shabbat. This one is one that many people know the first part of and not the second. Aseh lecha rav ve'aseh lecha chaver translates to find yourself a rabbi. Some people translate into find yourself a teacher, because rabbi is teacher. Find yourself a teacher and acquire for yourself a friend. The part I want us to focus on is, and judge all people with the scale weighted in their favor. So what does that mean? If when we encounter other people, and it can be a stranger, or it can be a person we know very well, or it can even be a reaction to someone who we're not encountering face to face, but maybe we've read a post or heard a story about them or read a newspaper article or whatever it is, that when we see ourselves judging, because it's our nature to judge, that we do it with the scale weighted in their favor. The way I like to think of it is, imagine if we could all encounter each other assuming best intentions. Imagine if we could do that. Imagine how the world might shift. Imagine what would happen to the toxicity of the moment if every single encounter we had, if every moment we felt of hurt or anger or pain, if we shifted our thinking and encountered whatever it was that hurt us or angered us, imagining best intention, recognizing we didn't know what that other person's intention actually was. We might not be sure what those words mean. We might not be certain of the context that brought them about. If we could dive into that loving kindness within loving kindness, how that could change at least the way we walk through the world. So I want us to carry that into the week and for our breathing. You know, it's hard to do that for others if we can't do that for ourselves. So I would like us to spend this time of breathing, diving into that well of generosity within us that exists in us all, that chesed, and see if we can also find the best of ourselves. And when we have a reaction, if we can recognize that maybe it comes from some kind of hurt we experience, that we carry, a little remnant we have of something, and if we can first treat ourselves with loving kindness, then it'll be easier for us to regard our fellow with loving kindness. So get yourself situated in a way where you feel relaxed, where you can let go of any physical or emotional or mental tension that is kind of gripping you. Perhaps it's in your jaw, or maybe in your forehead. Try to relax those places. Think of the beauty of your neck and how it holds that incredible head on your body without any effort. And if you're feeling tension in your neck or your upper back or your shoulders, try to open that part of yourself and let it go. So you move through your chest and your back. Create space for those wondrous lungs that rise and fall and fill us with the breath of God that mingles with our breath. If your hands are holding anything, try to put whatever it is down. And either hold your hands with your palms down on your legs or up or in any way you want, but just in a way that causes no effort for you. Lets you remain available for whatever this moment will be. You move your stomach, your hips, and your thighs and your knees, all the way down your legs to your toes. Just think of how marvelous it is that we can release tension in these places and somehow we can still hold ourselves up. Now, to help us as we breathe, think of the freedom that breath allows. You breathe in possibility. We exhale whatever we've already used. We can say thank you to it. We're grateful for every breath we have and every breath we had. So let's let go of the breath that came before so we can prepare ourselves for the possibility of the breath that enters. Let's just sit with that for a bit. Breathing in possibility and expressing with gratitude that which served us. Just do that for a while, and then I'll help us guide us to that well of loving kindness within us. As we breathe in, imagine that it is breath of the divine, and you can imagine that in any way you want. It could be the mystery of the universe, the oxygen that flows from trees into us wherever we are, coming from the heavens. Whatever it is divine. And if we breathe in something that is so miraculous, something that is eternal, something that is divine, that is an act of generosity we're receiving from God, from the universe, from nature. That generosity literally gives us our breath, energizes our bodies and our souls. It is made of pure chesed, pure loving kindness. So now as you breathe, just breathe in without effort, with just focus, just breathe in a little deeper and extend the expression of your breath. Make it a little longer. So even as the breath leaves us, it travels within us a bit more. Savor each deep breath of possibility that enters. Feel its goodness. And as you express that breath and release it back into the universe, feel how it comes from that well of chesed, of loving kindness that is at the core of our very essence. We breathe in that divine, wondrous breath that leads us to our well of loving kindness. Imagine it filling our lungs. And when we express, imagine it floating out into the universe and reaching people who we don't think of ourselves as connected to, but we are, because we all share the same air. So even without any direct exchange, we are putting our loving kindness into the world. That's how we are connected to others. Ya da 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 ya da da 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 ya da da ya da da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya 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 da da ya da 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 ya da ya da da ya da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da ya da da Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer
No, yo te llevo,
al
María, yo te llevo.
sfirat
Regre.
ha'omer al sfirat ha'omer HaOmer Sheva Shabbatot Timimot Tihiena Sheva Shabbatot Timimot Tihiena. Feel free to continue keeping your eyes closed, but gently bring your body back to a stronger sense of outward consciousness as we pronounce this Hayom Yom Echad HaOmer. Today is the first day of the Omer. And on this day, which represents the beginning of a journey that can be both exciting and also daunting, because all journeys are, let's remember to lead with that pull from our deep well of loving kindness that is within loving kindness, to judge everyone and everything we encounter, assuming best intent. And instead of a poem, I just have a little teaching by Brené Brown. She says, it's a commitment to stop respecting and evaluating people based solely on what we think they should accomplish and start respecting them for who they are. Hold them accountable for what they are actually doing, not what we think they should be doing, and I would add, or should be saying. She says it might mean taking a risk, assuming others are doing the best they can, but it's a risk worth taking. And she said, in order to do that, it also means becoming trusted friends with ourselves. When we are overwhelmed and struggling, turning those positive assumptions toward ourselves means saying, I'm doing the very best I can right now. If we can assume that of others, certainly we can assume that of ourselves. And if we can assume that of ourselves, certainly we can assume that of others. We're all doing the best we can right now. I wish you all a meaningful journey in our steps toward choosing to attach ourselves to a life guided by wisdom and goodness, and most of all, loving kindness. Boker or everybody, have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing the story of with Jewish Week. It was very meaningful.
Thank you.
Very
Well, that's
meaningful.
part of this teaching, isn't it?